You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I am your host, Steph, and today we are celebrating the 49ers being NFC West Champs, beating the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. There's really no greater feeling than what we are all feeling right now. And so let's just get right into it. All right. Yeah, Melissa here says, let's go, Steph. 3 straight Purdy wins. Yeah, the 49ers have won now 7 in a row. 3 of those have been with Brock Purdy. That is absolutely insane. He played amazing today. I just have nothing but good things. Okay. Let me just say, no, I don't think he played amazing, but given the circumstances of this game, I knew this was going to be a tougher game for him on the road against a division rival with so much on the line. I knew the Seahawks were going to give him a hard time, and they did, but I thought he played a great game anyway, given all of that. And so if this was his coming back down to earth game, I would say I'm still very pleased with the performance. I mean, Brock Purdy still looked comfortable out there. I thought maybe the noise would get to him. And I don't know if it's just me, but the noise, the crowd noise didn't seem as loud, as deafening as it has felt in years past when the 49ers have played in Seattle. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. I don't know if it was just because Amazon Prime maybe lower the crowd noise. I don't know, but it just didn't seem as loud, and certainly didn't seem like the offense was really fazed by it like we've seen in the past as well. So all in all, I just feel like it was a great performance, a great team win. This defense is absolutely playing lights out. I mean, looking at this team, I'm not sure there's anyone who wants to play the 49ers right now. They are one of the scariest teams going into the playoffs. They are rolling with a full head of steam right now, and it's hard to imagine anyone stopping what they have going right now. So let's just get right into talking about this game, though. I'm going to give you the recap really quickly. Just let's go over some of the actives and inactives. So, of course, Deebo Samuel was out, and so that was another big thing. Think about that, too. Brock Purdy did not have Deebo Samuel in this game, who obviously is a huge part of this offense and what they are able to do. He gives this team a lot of different elements in passing and as a rusher. So not having him out there, obviously the team leaned on Christian McCaffrey heavily, but not having Deebo Samuel out there, we got to remember that too. Also, Brock Purdy was dealing with an oblique injury, and it kind of seemed like it did kind of bother him at some points in the game. But, all in all, I felt really good about how Brock Purdy did. But anyway, more of the inactives: Kevin Givens, Samuel Womack, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tarvarius Moore, Curtis Robinson, Nick Zakelj. And for the Seahawks, their defensive tackle, Al Woods, who was one of their better run defenders, was not in for this game. So that kind of set the stage for the 49ers to be able to run the ball, and that was definitely the plan going into it. You could tell we're also missing a couple of their backup corners, their couple running backs, because they had Kenneth Walker back and an offensive lineman. But the biggest inactive for the Seahawks was Al Woods leaving this game. The 49ers did move Hassan Ridgeway on IR. They promoted Akeem Spence to the active roster. I think he played a couple snaps in this game. And elevated from the practice squad was Willie Snead and Janoris Jenkins. Janoris Jenkins actually ended up finishing the game because of Mooney Ward was actually he left the game with an injury. We're not really sure what. In fact, let me check what Kyle Shanahan has said about any injuries, because he was about to go up on the podium. Here's some quotes from Kyle Shanahan's presser, though. On Brock Purdy, he said he's definitely the most poised rookie quarterback I've ever had. That is huge. I mean, you think about all of the rookies that Kyle Shanahan has worked with in the past, including Kirk Cousins, who he loves dearly. And to say that about Brock Purdy just tells you how much, he loves him. But this is great. George Kittle wearing a shirt for Jimmy Garoppolo feels great, baby. Yes, it does. I mean, it feels great to be NFC West champions. And on Brock Purdy's oblique, Kyle Shanahan said we were going to see how long he could let, and we were ready to go with Josh Johnson. Obviously, we know that Brock Purdy was okay with his oblique. But I'm waiting to hear what the injuries to Mooney Ward was. But I'll keep an eye on that. And if you guys hear anything, let me know as well. Hopefully he is okay. So the Seahawks started the game on offense first. And right off the bat, the 49ers defense was just getting pressure on Geno Smith, and they were forced to punt. Greenlaw almost had an interception on Geno Smith in that first Seahawks drive, and that would have probably been a pick six had he gotten it, and I was just hoping that wouldn't come back to bite him later. It ended up not coming back to bite him, thankfully. And then on the 49ers' first drive, they went on a quick 3-and-out, but I didn't feel like that first 3-and-out was really a reflection of how the game would go. Like, it wasn't very disastrous. So I was like, okay, like, it was just a 3-and-out. It wasn't like something that I felt was crowd noise induced or just like the pressure of the game being too much. It was just like, a regular 3-and-out. So I thought that was positive for the 49ers defense. And I mean, really just the entire game, this defense was suffocating the Seattle offense and just forcing so many Seahawks punts. Christian McCaffrey got a lot of action in this game. They were using him a lot in the early going. And early in the game, the Seahawks lost their defensive tackle, Byron Morey, who I believe was in the game because of Al Woods being out. So they're already very short-handed in the interior of their defensive line. And another injury definitely did not help. And so this kind of set up for the 49ers to have a great game on the ground, which, I felt like they took advantage of. Brock Purdy, he converted a number of third downs. One of them was the 3rd and 3 to Juwan Jennings. God, that one in the fourth quarter to Brandon Ayuk, I think it was like 3rd and 6. That was a dart to Brandon Ayuk, and Ayuk just couldn't reel it in. The game could have probably ended a lot earlier had Ayuk reeled that one in, but luckily it didn't end up mattering in the grand scheme of things. But God, it just sucks because that was a beautiful throw by Purdy. And that very first touchdown, my God, Kyle Shanahan, you beautiful genius. That play design was crazy. The fake to McLeod, then the fake to McCaffrey on the other side, and then throwing it down the middle to George Kittle. Like, that was absolutely insane. He was wide open for that touchdown. I've never seen anything more beautiful than that. And so he was in his bag today when he drew that one up. And of course, also the other one to the second touchdown to George Kittle as well. How about George Kittle in this game? Back to his regular form, how we like to see him, being very involved, on the offense. And, I think he had over 90 yards. Yeah, he had 93 yards and he had the 2 touchdowns. So happy to have you back, Kittle. I think this was a great game for him to reemerge, as you'd say. But yeah, dude, Brock Purdy was 11 for 11 to start this game in 98 yards and a touchdown. So he definitely was not flustered going into this one. And I think that's a great sign because, like I said, this game had a lot of implications, and it felt like this is going to be the closest to a playoff game that Brock Purdy is going to have probably before the actual playoffs. That game against the Commanders might be another one too, but I really feel like this was a great test for him on the road to get that feeling of a really high stakes game. And he did pretty well. And to start the game 11 of 11 was, I think, a good sign of that. So, but then after that, he threw 2 straight incompletions, and that kind of put the 49ers in 4th down territory, and they ended up having to punt. But they were winning the time of possession at that point. So I think the game was just going how the 49ers wanted. And of course, the 49ers defense just continued to stop the Seahawks at every turn. I mean, on a couple plays where a couple of drives where they were able to move the ball, they were able to hold them to field goals. They had one in the first half, and I believe they had, they had one field goal in the first half. The 49ers then went up 14-3 after the Greenlaw forced fumble on Travis Homer. That was another great play. Dre Greenlaw owns the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he's now the full 100% owner of the Seattle Seahawks after today. Let me get some comments here. SD Niner says, D is so good. It beat the Seahawks and the refs. You want to talk about the refs? Okay. These refs were just like so trigger happy with the flags. And I'm not surprised because like someone earlier in the week had tweeted how the last time that this main ref and this group of refs officiated a game against the 49ers, it was in that Chiefs game, and the 49ers got called for like a bunch of penalties in that one too. So it did seem at some point like, look, I'm not the kind of person who complains about penalties because a lot of the time they're legit penalties. But there were a couple that I felt like they just really wanted to have a game, so it kind of went in the Seahawks way for a lot of them because they wanted to make it interesting or something. I don't know. That's just a sense I got. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to watch some of those plays over. Some of them definitely were penalties, like the Nick Bosa one where he took the helmet off of Charles Cross. That was definitely a penalty, even if it was on accident. That's still a penalty. And then the one where he landed on Geno Smith that caused the roughing the passer, that was also a penalty by rule. It's a shitty rule, but I mean, it's still a penalty. So yeah, that one, it's like whatever. But man, to call like 3 different flags on the defense on one play is absolutely insane. Like, I don't know if I've seen that, but yeah. Yes, you're right. The defense so good, beat the Seahawks and the refs. Dawson says tonight was a great test for Brock. Now he needs to be in a bubble wrap till the next game. Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of time to rest now, fortunately, before the next game. They play in 9 days, so the 49ers have a long rest until they play again now against the Commanders on Christmas Eve. And that's going to be a tough game, I think, for this team. So another really good test going into the playoffs. One thing I know, when the 49ers finally do play a playoff game this season, they're going to be battle tested. They're going to know that they've gone through a lot of really tough teams and tough tasks, and they've done it with a rookie quarterback who's been able to handle all of this pressure, and they got to feel really good about that. So we'll see how they do against the Commanders, but they're going to be a tough one. Their defense is really tough. So I'm excited for that game, though. Joseph Perez says NFC West Champs. Feels so good. I knew when Amazon Prime, they were playing Mac Dre going into one of the commercial breaks, and I was like, really? Okay, the 49ers are not going to lose this game if they're playing Mac Dre right now. I feel pretty good. Joseph said, glad they held Mooney out to preserve him. Yeah, I mean, if that was the case that, like, they kept him out because they said he was cleared, right? On the broadcast, they said that Mooney had been cleared. He was looked at for a concussion, but he was cleared. So good sign. And also there was another tweet by Matt Barrows just now, Charvarius Ward. Kyle Shanahan said that Ward passed a concussion test on the sideline, but he was held out of the game anyway. I didn't feel totally right about it. He said, I didn't think he should go back in. That's a great move by him. It would have been nice if his former assistant Mike McDaniel had done something like that with Tua. But it's glad to know. It's good to know that Kyle Shanahan has the best interest of his players in mind. Yeah, he passed it during the game. So, good to know that he passed it. So he should be fine for the upcoming game. And really, that's great news because it means that the 49ers got through this game without any injuries, right? I think the only one was Ambry Thomas, who he re-aggravated his ankle injury. He plays on special teams, so that's really where they'll be feeling that. They'll probably have to sign someone else to be able to play for special teams, but that's a problem for next week. Joseph says, looking at Purdy's face, he looked so calm. Sometimes you could just see Jimmy G letting the noise in big moments make him sweat. I agree. I mean, Brock Purdy just looks so relaxed. Like, yeah, he just looks so calm. And one thing that I've said is that I've watched enough of Jimmy Garoppolo that watching Jimmy Garoppolo makes me nervous. Like, even when he's playing good, like even when he had that stretch of games where, you know, he was playing good football, he wasn't turning the ball over much, if at all. Still watching him made me nervous because I just know that anything can happen with Jimmy Garoppolo at any moment. Like he could make a mistake at any moment. But watching Brock Purdy, like I feel calm watching Brock Purdy on offense. And I think it's just because he looks calm, you know, running the offense. So he doesn't make me nervous. And also he hasn't made a whole lot of mistakes. So I think that's a difference. I really see it. Like, it's so clear, like how comfortable he looks out there. And so it makes me comfortable watching him, and it makes the game a hell of a lot more fun for me to watch. So yeah, I like Brock Purdy, big Brock Purdy fan at the moment. CMC, 32 touches tonight. Crazy. Yeah, he played a huge role tonight, and that was kind of expected, right? Because with Deebo Samuel out, you know, Christian McCaffrey, also a wide back on this team, right? So it made sense that McCaffrey pretty much playing the role of two different players today, and he had a lot of usage in this one. Let me see what I have his stats right here. He had 26 carries, 108 yards rushing, a 4.2 yard per carry average, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. He also had 6 catches for 30 yards. So he just did it all tonight. And I think that, you know, allowed Brock Purdy to kind of ease into the game at certain moments too. So he just helped this team out tremendously tonight. So props to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's absolutely transformed this offense and what they've been able to do. And it's just incredible. The fact that Deebo Samuel, a player so important to this offense, can miss this game, and you almost don't even notice because Christian McCaffrey can just fill that role so nicely, I think speaks volumes about the kind of player he is and how big of a trade that was for this team. It's just completely changed the offense. All right. Philibonger says 71% of the earth is covered by water. Okay, thank you for that fact. Dre Greenlaw covers the rest. Okay, I see what you did there. Yeah, Dre Greenlaw was absolutely amazing today. He just continues to be amazing this season, and man, he's just up there with Fred Warner now, I think, and get used to it. It's a great feeling to know that we have the best linebacker group in the league. I mean, we had it before, Patrick Willis and Bowman, and to have that again, I just feel like we're a little spoiled with our linebackers. Fred Warner tonight had 8 tackles. Greenlaw also had 8 tackles. Diamador Lenore had 10 tackles. Some great stuff. He also had that interception that was called back because of the Nick Bosa penalty, but I thought Lenore played a pretty good game today too. So props to him. Greenlaw also had 2 passes defended. So yeah, he's just playing great football right now. And it's just been a huge boost for this defense. This defense is just full of dogs, and everyone contributes. Every single person. If one guy misses a tackle, you know that another guy's coming right up to clean it up and make the tackle. Like, I have no worries with this defense whatsoever. Like, I enjoy watching them so much. I'm never nervous watching them. Big confidence Brock. Yes, there you go. That's a BCB. Slow TV Texas says, do you think the 49ers run game could be improved by different play calling or Jordan Mason? I I think the run game is fine. Like, I think it's been pretty good these past 2 games. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had 4.2 yards per carry average today. Jordan Mason had 4 carries today. His average was 16 yards per carry because he had that long 55-yard run. It kind of skewed the number a bit, but he had 64 total yards today. I mean, not Brock Purdy. Jordan Mason, they kind of use as their closer. I was expecting him to have a role earlier in the game, which he did not. So I thought maybe because Deebo Samuel would be out and the fact that the Seahawks have one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, I thought we would see more of Jordan Mason, but that wasn't the case. But hey, it's okay. He can close out games. He seems to be really good at that. Once the defense is kind of like depleted and like all hope is lost, Jordan Mason can really make them lose their will. So I'm okay with the role that they have for Mason at the moment. And I'm okay with the run game as well. Fabio says we got robbed of a pick 6. I don't think it would have been a pick 6, right? Didn't he get tackled right before the end zone? Or he would have gotten? I don't remember. But yeah, right. It would have been a pick 6. Yeah, at that point, once I saw the flag come down, I was like, oh, okay, that one's coming back. So I didn't even think about it being a pick 6. But yeah, Jimmy says the roughing call on Bosa was total BS. I don't think it was. It was called how the rule, says, and you're not, as a defender, you're not supposed to put your full body weight on the quarterback. That's what Nick Bosa did at that time. I mean, even after the game, he very humbly admitted that he did that, and that was the correct call. So it was the right call. It's not my favorite rule, okay, but it was the right call. Monica, my cousin, says, hi, Steph. Sunita and the girls say hi. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. Sean here says, seems like 49ers got to Q in – seems like 49ers to put Q in rack by 3-4 time. Not sure what that means. Sorry. Can you rephrase that? But I will say that that comment reminded me of something in the game where at one point, the run was working early for the 49ers. And I feel like there was one point in the game where Kyle Shanahan kind of went away from the run for some reason. And I thought to myself, here's Kyle Shanahan, like making adjustments before he needs to, like trying to be one step ahead of the defense and trying to, I don't know, outsmart his opponent, I guess. But at that point, I feel like the Seahawks weren't really stopping the run with McCaffrey. So to go to the pass didn't make sense. But there was a point in the game where the Seahawks did slow down the run a little bit. But at that point, Brock Purdy was getting the job done. And I thought he did a great job in this game overall. But let's see. Let's get back into some of this recap here. So Ray McCloud had a really good return in this game. He had the 49-yard return. That was after halftime, and he gave the 49ers great field position. It's been feeling like Ray McCloud has been close to just like busting one for a touchdown. Like, he's getting close. Like, I feel like every game he gets a little closer. So I don't know, maybe in a couple games or next game, we see a McCloud return touchdown. But yeah, he gave the 49ers some great field position on that one. And that's what pretty much allowed Purdy to, take advantage of the busted coverage that got George Kittle wide open and get that 54-yard touchdown. And that's what put the 49ers up at 21-3. The 49ers pretty much did not look back after that. So out of desperation at that point, the Seahawks were trying to move the ball a little bit more. They had a little more success just because, they really needed to get something going. And that's kind of when the flags started coming out. Like, every drive, there was multiple flags, it seemed like. So It kind of sucked, but Nick Bosa did get his sack on Geno Smith. He was trying like hell in the first half to get a sack. Like it seemed like almost every drop back by Geno Smith, Nick Bosa was right there meeting him in the pocket. Like, yeah, he was just like a man with his hair on fire. And Bosa now has 15 and a half sacks on the season. That's tied for his career high. There's no doubt in my mind that after the performance he put up today, that he shouldn't be the defensive player of the year. Like, no question about it. I mean, I don't know what else people need to see to not vote him DPOY. I don't know. And Emmanuel Acho for saying that that Nick Bosa doesn't have high effort, like he doesn't give high effort, and he's helped out by other guys on his defensive line. Come on now, if he watched the game tonight, like that pretty much busted all of the theories that he has on Nick Bosa, which are completely incorrect and baseless to begin with. So I hope he watched the game, because I don't know what angle he's going to take now, how he's going to move the goalpost this time. But Nick Bosa absolutely put on a great performance tonight, playing with his hair on fire, and he got the sack, 15 and a half on the season. Great season for him. I really hope that he gets the 20-piece that he had set out to get at the beginning of the season. All right, now, what do we think about this team, like going into the playoffs? I mean, I feel pretty good about this game, and dare I say, I feel terrible saying it, but dare I say that I feel better going into the playoffs right at this moment with Brock Purdy than I do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I wasn't prepared to say that like 2 weeks ago. I was like ready to pump the brakes on all this Purdy talk, but he just looks so good. And I haven't seen anything that would get me to think otherwise, that this team can't go deep into the playoffs with him, like he looks like a guy who could get the job done. And with all of the playmakers around him, with the defense that he has on the other side, I mean, this team is just set up for, a deep playoff run. Hopefully a Super Bowl. Let's get some other comments here. Brock is playing Russian roulette with a nearly thrown pick 2 games in a row that was either saved by a penalty or dropped by the defense. That's true. I mean, that's true. But he's bound to throw an interception. Okay, like he's gonna do it. The good thing is, with the fact that these haven't been interceptions, I'm sure that when he's close to throwing one, he really beats himself up about it, because everything that I've heard about Brock Purdy, like anyone that has coached him, like the thing that they say is he's a perfectionist. He's always looking for ways to get better. He takes criticism very well. So, he's probably looking at the tape, and he's going to look at, why he was baited into making that throw to begin with, because that should have been 100% an interception. The Diggs just completely dropped it. So, but I'm sure that's something Purdy's going to look at to make sure that it doesn't happen again. He probably will end up throwing an interception that actually counts at some point. It's going to happen, but it's really about how he bounces back from that and how he responds to it that I think is important. So based on what I've seen, he doesn't get rattled by making mistakes. He doesn't let it get to his head. So I think that's a positive sign. Yeah. But he looks at targets, touchdowns to check down, which Jimmy did not. And Jimmy also had Jimmy throws to the invisible underneath coverage. Yeah, that's the big thing about Purdy, is that he looks from the top down. And Jimmy looked bottom first and then to his deep throws, if he had even had time, or if he even felt comfortable, like looking downfield. But most of the time, if he saw a guy open underneath, he was going to take that guy. So that's a difference between Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo right now. That's kind of in a way, reinvigorated the offense a little bit, because that's the one element that Jimmy Garoppolo never gave you. Being able to make those downfield throws willingly. Because how many times did we see Jimmy Garoppolo have an open guy downfield and he just either never saw him or never decided to throw to him? Whereas Brock Purdy just seems to be the complete opposite. And so he's taking those chances. Part of that could be because Brock Purdy hasn't made those downfield mistakes yet, right? He hasn't thrown an interception that's going to make him second guess that decision, right? So that could be part of it. I don't know. Right now, Brock Purdy's just playing very freely and with a lot of confidence. So I think the 49ers should ride that wave for as long as that lasts, and so should he. So it's great for this offense to have that new element, though. Philip Bonger says, I have more confidence in Purdy right now than I did in Jimmy 3 weeks ago, saying this as a Jimmy apologist. Yeah, I thought Jimmy was playing the best games of his career this season. Like, he looked great this season for the most part, and definitely in the 6 game not in the 6 game stretch, but before he got hurt in the stretch, was it like 3-4 games that they had won in a row with Jimmy at quarterback? I mean, he was playing some really good football, and that's why I was a little nervous when he went out, right? Like, you think that the playoff chances are over. Well, not the playoff chances, but at least your chances of going to a Super Bowl you thought would be over. But now seeing Brock Purdy, and yeah, seeing Purdy have confidence in himself and actually execute at a high level, yeah, it gives me the confidence that he can do just exactly what Jimmy did, and also a little bit more, because as I mentioned, he gives you that element of being able to throw downfield as well. He's comfortable, making those riskier throws. Not even riskier. I mean, these guys are open. It's not even riskier, but he's just willing to look beyond the sticks most of the time. So it's just a great sign. And also, I would say that, he also is great at escaping the pocket. He has good pocket awareness, and he's good at making throws on the move, when he's rolling out. So I have nothing but great things to say about Brock Purdy. SD Niner says he has crazy poise for a rookie. He looks calm, no happy feet, accurate. Love it. Absolutely. The no happy feet is a great thing. And part of that is just because, like, he doesn't need to have happy feet. He's not scared of getting sacked. Just escape the pocket. You know what I mean? And he has really good feel and timing in the pocket. So it's really great. Yeah, I'd want Purdy's aggression and rare mistakes over Jimmy's conservatism and rare mistakes. Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of feel like Jimmy was starting to break out of his being conservative a little bit. Like, and Kyle Shanahan was also leaning into Jimmy Garoppolo throwing a little bit more. And now with Brock Purdy, that hasn't stopped. Like, Kyle Shanahan's still calling these pass plays for like the same plays that Jimmy had for Brock Purdy. Nothing has really changed. It's just that Brock Purdy is hitting different guys, on these routes. So it's positive stuff for this team, I think. Sean says the team seems more stable and in control of the game compared to 2019. They build from a very solid defense and throttles the opposition. I mean, this defense is absolutely better than the 2019 defense. So much better. I mean, when you look at just the corners themselves, all they had was Emmanuel Moseley. Emmanuel Moseley was their CB1. Moseley is a great corner, right? But I think he's a great CB2. Like, he probably shouldn't be your CB1. He could be, but Mooney Ward being the CB1 has also like kind of transformed this defense because you can cover on the back end as well. And I think Lenoir has improved in these few weeks that, he's been asked to start on the outside opposite Mooney Ward. I think Lenoir's getting better, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, if you guys feel the same, but I think that's great for this offense and for this defense as well. One second. Sorry. Okay. All right. Jimmy says, Purdy's mobility and poise are definitely outstanding. Great clutch throw to Ayuk on third down. Yes, that one really stuck out to me. I mean, he made a few third down conversions tonight, Brock Purdy did. And even though that one did not count, I don't hold that one against Purdy because that was just complete drop by Ayuk. And in the fourth, that would have probably closed the game out. Yeah, it would have definitely closed the game out. Glock Purdy has a gunslinger mentality. Yes. Speedy RC says, like your background. Thank you very much. I've worked on it. Can you tell I'm a fan? And also shout out my brother because he actually lent me a lot of items from his man cave to put in the background. So shout out to him. Brock Shiesty season is now, Hurlby says. His vision and poise are elite. Absolutely. We're seeing it in real time. Like, this guy does not look like a rookie, and it's just been incredible to see. But look, guys, the 49ers are NFC West champions. Brock Purdy, he finished 17 of 26, 217 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 8.3 yards per pass. And Kittle, as I mentioned, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. We love to see that. We need to see more of that. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, but it's always great when, Kittle has a good game because you're reminded of just how freaking good he is. I mean, if all he has to get through are like 1 or 2 defenders, he's taking it to the house because it's hard to bring this guy down, especially when he's on the move like that. And so we saw that on both of those touchdowns, that if he just has like a corner or a safety to get through, he's housing it. So it was great to see George Kittle, man. I hope that Kyle Shanahan has more cooked up for him in the future, because we're going to need some explosive plays like that in the playoffs. But I'm definitely happy with this game. I'm happy with this team. This defense, absolutely amazing. This offense has been incredible. Christian McCaffrey has transformed this offense. Brock Purdy is doing everything that you can ask of a rookie quarterback and more. By the way, Brock Purdy, I found out, leads all rookie quarterbacks with 6 touchdowns. I didn't know that, but that's a crazy stat. I guess there aren't that many rookie quarterbacks that started all season, but still, that's a really eye-opening stat. And all right, guys, that's all I have for you guys tonight. Jimmy says, got to give flowers to Mooney Ward for his play versus Metcalf today. Dude, he had Metcalf like roid raging. He was definitely messing with his head today. And I love that because this defense, that's what we need, Joseph says DK needs his binky back the way the SF defense sunned him. Yeah, absolutely. And all right, guys, I got to get to bed. It's about 10:30 here in Colorado, so I got to hit the sheets, and I hope you guys have a good night. I know I'm going to be sleeping good. I'm going to be sleeping like a baby because the 49ers are NFC West champs. So make sure you guys enjoy it. And it's a great feeling to know that the way this season started, to be where the 49ers are right now, you would have never known it's the same team. But at the end of the day, you kind of could, because they did the same thing last year. So definitely happy with this team. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.